I think that there are a lot of people who are a little bit confused about something. I recognize that they're trying to get a handle by which to grab things that are going on in the modern world. I wrote down in my notes, and I'm going to read this one little piece. Is the current problem we're seeing in the United States really tribalism, or is it something else? Hello and welcome to the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I am your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Thursday, the 6th of May of 2021. Thank you for everyone who's coming on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Thank you for coming along. And by the way, also if you're coming from anywhere else. And today we are talking about the subject of tribalism. And we're talking about that particularly with regard to what's going on in the United States, and particularly with what's going on at this moment in time. I remember as a kid just sort of having a pleasant childhood in which I did the things that I mostly wanted to do. Obviously, I was very limited in what I could do, but I just basically did what I wanted to do. Hung out with my friends, hung out by myself, went to the beach, went to school when I had to, and so forth and so on. And finally found myself gainful employment various places and started to work doing various kinds of jobs, right? I remember all of this very, very clearly, looking back in my life. And it's been a while. It's been 30, 40 years since a lot of this actually happened for me when I was younger. But I remember it, and then I look back at the life that my children have led, and I see that there is a tendency for them to want something, not more, but something that makes them feel, I guess, sort of meaningful, because they feel like they're just living in this, I don't know if you'd call it a rut or what you would call it. But I wanted to kind of bring out this idea of tribalism, and I wanted to explain why I don't really think that's what's going on right now. And I want to start by talking about sort of what a tribe is, right? What is a tribe? Well, back when people didn't live in built-up cities so much, and what they did was they actually lived together as a group, typically of family and people who gravitated towards a given family. And you were part of this group, and you were part of a whole, and you worked typically together to make life better for everybody. That's what you did. That's how things worked. That was a tribe. You can call it a clan, you can call it a tribe, you can call it a group, you can call it a family, whatever you want to call it. There were 100 names for it. And everywhere you went, it was different. But the point is, this is what a tribe looked like. Okay? What we're seeing in the modern day doesn't look like that. Now, you may be thinking, what do you mean it doesn't look like that? How can you say that? Isn't that what's happening? Don't we have all of these people amassing on the left and the right in their, quote, tribes and doing what they're doing? Here's the thing. For those of us on the right, we are sort of tribal in our outlook, right? We look at the world in a way where we try to see how we can make things beneficial for others. But here's where we break with the standard sort of tribalism approach for most of us. If we can help other people. My neighbor came to me today and said, I can't get my stove lit. She's an older lady and a great lady. I love her to death. I had her as a neighbor for all the time I've been living in this house, and she's been living in the neighborhood way longer than I have. She came to me and she said, I can't get my stove lit. I didn't ask her, are you a liberal or a conservative? I went over to help her out. This is what neighbors do. They don't care whether you're a liberal or a conservative. They don't care whether you are going to agree fundamentally or even in and especially in far reaches, right, of what you believe. They don't care. That's not something that they worry about. She had a problem getting her stove lit, and she is having some sort of problem. I'll say she's no dummy. She just couldn't get the doggone thing to work, and I gave her a tool that she could use, a lighter, to get her stove lit. Right, and hopefully she'll be able to make all of that work, and hopefully I won't help her to burn down her house. I don't think so. I think she's smart enough. My biggest concern is that she may not remember, because she's getting a little bit older in years, and we do that. We forget. That's just something that happens. But here's my point. I don't concern myself about what my neighbor believes before I decide whether or not I'm going to help her. The kid with the pink hair whose car won't start And I have jumper cables in the back of my car that I can attach to my battery and attach to their battery to get their car working. I don't care that her hair is pink. I don't care about the 14 tattoos on her left arm. I don't care about the fact that she's probably potentially a Marxist. I don't care. The point is you help people. Now what's going on the other side of the aisle is not that largely. If a person believes that they're kindred, sometimes they will treat those other people with whom they're kindred with a little bit of respect and so forth, and they will try and help them out in need. If they believe they're different, they will often do everything that they can to keep from doing that. I don't tend to give money to homeless folks or to people, quote, begging on the side of the street. Why? You could say it's because I'm a heartless conservative, right? No, it's because I don't think it's beneficial to them largely to have that happen. And I know that many of them are making large amounts of money that they're then spending on alcohol or cigarettes or drugs, worse yet. And I'm afraid for their very existence because of what they're doing with their time. It isn't that I don't want to do things for them. If I saw them in a restaurant, which I barely go into restaurants these days, but if I saw them in a restaurant and they said, will you buy me a burger? The answer is yes, if I can afford it. And most of the time I can, let's face it. Most of the time I can afford it. And I don't care what your politics are. And I don't care what social class you belong to. Yes, I will buy you a burger. Obviously you could trade it for drugs, and there's not much I could do about that, but most of the time what happens is they sit down and happily eat the burger and move on. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with sheltering the homeless. I think that's a great idea, and I think that people need to do that. But on the other side of that coin, on the leftist side of the coin, are people who will literally eat each other. They don't even have to go outside of their group to find people that they're going to eat. They'll literally eat each other. They will find somebody who committed some sort of faux pas, and that's the end of it for that person. They literally will attack people on social media for saying something they don't like or they don't agree with. I don't make it my business to attack people. There was a time when I sort of took that tack, and I realized it was not beneficial to anybody. And what I started to do was this. I started to go, here's the problem, and here's my talking about it, and I went, the initial comment, and I took what I said about that thing, and for those of you that are listening, I took my hands and I put them together and I actually separated them. And the point is that the original comment that was made or whatever, what I did with that is I separated it from my response. I made it so that I wasn't responding to that person, but to the condition, the situation, or the problem. Okay? This is not something you see on the left lots of times. They will literally attack people with whom they disagree. I'm not drinking Coke, but I don't drink Coke anyway. I'm not flying airlines. I haven't flown airlines since TSA, since the Transportation Security Authority or whatever they are. I don't fly airlines. But none of this has to do with individuals. Are there individuals that I disagree with? You bet there are. Do I spend a lot of time talking specifically about those individuals? Not really. In fact, you'll find that I'm loath to actually mention an individual when I talk about a given situation or circumstance. This is how things are. This is not how they are on the left. This is not how things are on the left. On the left, we have people that will not just attack me, they will attack their own if they feel like somebody has, quote, betrayed the cause. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. One of them, I think, is that a lot of the people on the left are younger. Not all of them, obviously. There are some who aren't. But I believe that the people who are higher up are using those who are younger and more energetic and enthusiastic as what used to be referred to, and sometimes still is, as useful idiots. I'm not saying that in order to say that that's what they want to be or that's what they're trying to be. I'm not saying they can't be intelligent. Okay, but that's what I think is happening. So this is what I see. On the left, I see people who will literally eat their own. On the right, I see people who are trying to get along but are unwilling to compromise their principles in the process of doing so. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap this up, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is my answer to what people are calling tribalism. I don't think it's tribalism at all. And that was my subject for the day, in case you're wondering. And tomorrow's subject is going to be no greater love. And I think that a lot of people have gotten a little confused about that. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Daily Summation. And by the way, this is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Thursday, the 6th of May of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Friday, the 7th of May of 2021, the start of most people's weekends. Thank you for everybody who's been on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my favorite platform. You can always give me a like on YouTube if you want to do that. You can give me a positive rumble on Rumble if you want to do that as well. Hopefully you're having a good day today and trucking ever closer to the weekend. Hopefully things are going well for you in general, and hopefully we will see you again on tomorrow's Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Thursday, May 6th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.